Before sunup the next morning, Luke rolled out of his blanket and went to check his traps. He found a beaver in one of the traps, but nothing in the other one. Satisfied that the one pelt was at least worth the trouble, he pulled the carcass out of the water and pulled his traps out of the pond. An adult male, he estimated the beaver weighed about 40 pounds. He was not the biggest catch, but his fur was not bad for this time of year, which told Luke he was still a young specimen. Instead of his usual custom of skinning it right there, he took the beaver back to his campfire and skinned it there. After he stretched the pelt out on a willow hoop to dry for a couple of days, he extracted the scent glands for the medicine and scraped the tail and charred it over his fire. Then he boiled it for a source of butter-like tallow, in addition to the tasty meal it provided. He had finished his breakfast and was packing up his horses when he heard the first shot. He paused at once to listen. It sounded as if it had come from upstream, maybe a mile or less away. His first thought was that someone had shot a deer or a wolf. But then he heard another shot, followed shortly by a third. Better take a look, he decided. Somebody must be having some trouble. Since his horses were pretty well hidden where they were, he decided to leave them tied there while he followed the stream up to the top of a high shoulder of the mountain west of the river. He wasn't willing to go out of sight of his horses, but if trouble was on its way to visit him, he wanted to be ready to meet it, and he figured he could get a better look at the top of that shoulder. He pulled his Pennsylvania long rifle from his saddle sling, as well as his backup rifle from one of his pack horses. Then, with a rifle in each hand, he started up the stream at a trot. He had not reached the top of the rise before another shot rang out. This time it sounded as if it was just on the backside of the shoulder he was climbing, causing him to stop and drop to one knee to take a cautious look before proceeding. The mountain was heavily forested, so it was difficult to see very far in front of him. He took another look behind him to make sure there was no one circling back toward his horses before he rose to his feet again and continued up the slope. When he reached the top of the shoulder, he discovered that it leveled out for about 50 yards before rising up into the mountain. He also discovered a small grassy meadow bisected by the stream he was following and the source of the gunfire.